is up, guys? I'm Zeltik, and today I just got a box in the post. I wonder what this could be. Well, considering I recently ordered a Ganondorf amiibo, oh, that was a bad cut, I suppose that'd be a safe bet. And we get this, I believe, a couple of months earlier than you guys over in the US, so so that's a good thing for us. Pros who living in Europe. Here we go. So let's throw that away. And here we go. It is the Ganondorf amiibo, and he's pretty goddamn big for an amiibo. I believe they've done the King of the Gerudo justice with his size. I figured since I don't really do unboxings, or at least I haven't in the past, but I figured since you know, I do Zelda videos and it is Ganondorf, I figured I'd do it. So yeah, let's open them up a little bit more. I'm not sort of like one of these people who keeps them in the box with amiibo, but I do sort of like to keep the boxes because the boxes are so cool. Like they're actually really good for. I'm gonna get a bit closer. They're really cool for like displays and stuff. But I do also like to use the amiibo, so I'm gonna try and open the box nicely, but it might go wrong. So I can sort of keep it on my shelf. I'm shit at doing this, even with a knife. Alright, here we go. Yeah. Alright. How am I doing it? This is not going well. Okay, here we go. And moment of truth. Okay, that's not gone too bad. That's alright, actually. So now we can get him out. He says, there we go. Alright, so there you go, the box isn't too bad. And here we have him, Ganondorf. He's pretty heavy. I think he's not as heavy as Bowser, but he's still pretty big for an amiibo. Well, I suppose you'd expect that. And the cape's actually got quite a lot of nice detail on it. I'll do some close-ups. I'll take the camera off this, you know, this tripod that I've got going, although it's not really a tripod, it's spoilers, it's a chair with blue tack on it, but I'll take him off that and do some sort of detailed shots on him, and I'll compare him to other some of my other amiibos. Okay, so we've got a bit of, you know, make this a bit more professional. Come on, here we go. There's the box. Alright, so let's get some closer shots on him when my camera decides to not be a bitch and focus. Come on. Hey. Alright, so let's get some close shots of him. So like I said, he's pretty big for an amiibo. Wait, I'll compare him in size to a couple of my, so here he is compared to probably the biggest I own in terms of sheer scale, Bowser. So he's really tall. Who else have I got this tall? Captain Falcon. There we go. So again, he's quite big. Captain Falcon's one of the tallest, I believe, and he's clearly a lot more bulky than Falcon. So, well, I'm just getting a bit close. Right. So in terms of detail, we've got this interesting piece around his, you know, upper torso, which has, yeah, here we go. It has some quite nice printed little decorative stuff on it, and you know, the Gerudo patterns on the cloth here. But then it's a little bit weird, and it's sort of blocky and raised above the chest plate. And if you see his actual smash render, it's not. His face though is awesome. Like, look, the expression on his face is so Ganondorf. I'm so glad that translated well into figure form. And another thing I really like is the texture here on his, I suppose just armor or cloth. And the same goes for his legs. Like it looks like it has a nice sort of cloth texture, but again, obviously it's just plastic. It's got massive feet as well. And now we get to the cloak, which is pretty cool. It's like Marth's a bit, and this is the sort of thing I was saying about how amiibos seem to be improving, and well, I'll bring Link in to prove my point here. Link's tunic is all green, and it's all, you know, pretty monotonous green. It's just one colour. There's no sort of shading even in sort of the crevices in his hat and stuff. Seriously, camera. I swear to God. Right, I'm going to be sort of superimposing photos because my camera's shit when it's on video. Yeah, but then Ganondorf, again, photos, but his cloak is, like, in the little crevices, it's a slightly more bluish colour, and then when it's up at the top, it's more purpley, which again looks a little bit more realistic, and it shows they've taken more time to actually paint it, and then as well as the cool gold symbols and all that. And his hand is pretty cool. Like me and Andy were talking, he's got the sassy, independent Ganon hip pose on. But in terms of detail, this is definitely one of the best amiibo, and I'm glad it actually translated well to figure form because his Smash 4 render is so detailed, and I'm really pleased that the figure actually captures everything about him, his pose and his scale and his detail, and he truly sort of, you know, looks like Ganondorf, the Gerudo King, in figure form, which is pretty good. So there you go, compare him to one of my other Smash mains, Captain Falcon, or I suppose my Smash 4 main, Captain Falcon. He's pretty big. I'm pretty impressed with him as a figure. It really is, like his face, I can't stress enough how cool his expression is. Like, I hope you can see that as well as I can. It's awesome. Really is. Yeah, I'm very impressed with this amiibo, and I completely recommend if you're a fan of Zelda or Smash or amiibo, you pick him up if you can find him. As we all know, the problem with amiibo. But definitely, Ganondorf amiibo, thumbs up, well done. That's very good. I approve.